All right, welcome to another edition of Lesson Notes, and this time we are going to bring some putting, some form work. This player came in really struggling with putting and mainly complaining about a right and left miss. Not necessarily speed control issues, but we will dive a little bit into that. But mainly just not feeling like they're hitting good putts, not making a lot of short putts. And so, when you're struggling with making putts, you got to start with form. And can I hit it through the gate? And so the gate that we have set up here, you can kind of see would be these two little T's right there. And those T's are very, very close together. On this well putt mat, that would be what we call like the pro setting. And so, as I play this video out, I'll go ahead and just play it out and you'll kind of see, we can see that the miss is definitely a little bit right. And so when I start a putting lesson, I generally start with like, what's the miss? You can see that I hit the tee there and the ball went, very far left. And so we start looking at, what is the common miss? Because when someone says that they're missing left and right, they're generally missing in a predominant way, and then sometimes they hit the opposite because they're trying to basically not hit that. So, starting at address, one thing that we notice, right off the bat is that the ball position, that's not the greatest line in the world, but you can see relative to his feet, that ball is a little bit back. So if the ball is a little bit back, you're going to tend to push the putt. And so the first thing we are going to look at is ball position. And then secondly, the other things that we're evaluating in the stroke would be length of swing and then kind of what is the face and path, similar to if we were doing like a TrackMan data. What is the face of path? In this case, the player was definitely like spinning the ball to the right. So we can kind of see as we play this back, the backswing's not like crazy. I mean, that looks pretty good. The face may be a touch open there, but in general, the backswing looks okay. Most of this issue comes from the downswing. We'll kind of see what I would call like a counter movement to where it looks okay coming into the ball, but you can see right here, now you can start to see the face open, and there it really starts to get open. So if we look at these lines on the follow through, we can see that the putter is starting to move left and the face is starting to go open. And so that is going to lead to, obviously you could hit some pulls, right? If the path is left and the face isn't open, then you're going to hit some pulls. But as a way to make this work, the player is swinging left and kind of holding the face open. So we call this like a weak face cut. The other thing that I noticed that I would always pay attention to in the form is that the backswing, you can see it only goes back to like that second line, and then the follow through is completely off the mat. So we would say that's a short to long stroke. Generally speaking, someone's going to have speed issues with that. Now, this player is a very, very good player, so they've kind of made it work, but I would argue that the better that we do with making the symmetry more like 50-50 or close to 50-50, they're probably going to see some improvement. So let's jump over to the adjusted and kind of see what we did and how we went about that. All right, so here we are with the adjusted form, and you can already see that we've done some pretty drastic things. So number one would be we have this alignment stick right here. And just in general, when you're doing form, you should definitely have a lot of checks. The one thing I know with good players is that they're very, very big on routines and doing the same things and checking the same things. So while doing a training aid like the Well Putt or a Viziomat are good, you've got to make sure that you're checking the things that are easy, like ball position, because ball position really does have a very, very big effect on a player's ability to start the ball on line. And then you can see that we've added, let me draw a circle here just so you can see, we've added a T right here. And that's really because as I cued the player, I wanted them to be feeling they're hitting a little bit of a draw. I observed that every once in a while the putter would move a little bit more outside than I would want. And in general, a player is almost always responding to the path. So if the path is left, they're going to leave the face open. If the path is more to the right, they're going to start closing the face. So I wanted to see some face closure. And then the other thing that we did, you can see, is we have this club. And that is going to be for the symmetry, really trying to get the backswing longer and then the follow through a little bit shorter, just to make that a little bit more 50-50 like we discussed. So let's go ahead and play this back. And you're definitely going to see that it is a little bit more in. And you may go, well, that's more inside than the other one. And that's fine. Listen, we're trying to have a ball that's basically spinning left. So I don't mind when he's doing these I would call them exaggerated form reps, that the putter's moving a little bit inside. You can even see it's a little bit strong with the face, things that we talked about. Oh, by the way, you can see the ball position is a little bit more forward too. Again, everything was about trying to get the ball to roll end over end. You can see he has the line on the ball. And then to have the ball come out more left. When we were doing our initial testing, he hit every one of his misses was into the right tee. So I'm really aware that I want him leaving, if anything, missing the left tee or hitting the left tee. I don't want to continue, that same issue of right miss, right miss, right miss. That can be very, very frustrating when you do all these things and you still see the same misses. So as we play this out, you're going to see a very, very drastic difference in how the face is responding to the path being a little bit more right. Okay, so we get to impact. Face is very, very square. Now here's where kind of the magic happens. And we'll see, if I just kind of go forward, you can see the ball went straight through. Now let me back this up a touch. You can see, though, you have these lines on this well putt mat that are like this, right? And so as he's going through, you can see we're totally like nailing those lines. And so if he were able to do that, even as he finishes there, with the symmetry being a little bit shorter, we can trust the ball's going to start going more left. He may even start to develop a little bit more of a pull. But we know that this ball is not going to go right. And if we look at it from the symmetry standpoint, let me clean these lines up. So now we're going, you can see that's just short of the that club there. If we go to the backswing, you can see now it's about 2.5 clubs back, and then it's about 2.5 clubs through. Now, from the player's perspective, it felt like a very, very long backswing and a very, very short or abrupt follow through. But we can see in reality, objectively, it's very, very 50-50. And in fact, we were doing about a 7-foot putt. What we noticed was the ball was actually coming out faster because he built up more energy on the backswing. That's really, if you're someone who feels like they have a long follow through and they tend to leave a lot of putts short, and I talked about this in other videos, that's because you're doing too short of a backswing and you're over accelerating into the follow through, but you're not really generating a whole lot of energy. Think the backswing is about building up energy, building up storage so that the putter can cruise into the ball. You don't want to have to be accelerating. And if you think the putter is going to stop, right? So if the putter is going to stop, that means that it has to be decelerating before it stops. So if you're building up all the energy on the backswing like this player is doing, all the way to there, now it can kind of cruise into the ball just like that. So if you are having, here's the takeaway, if you are having struggles with your putting, it's going to be one of three things. I can't start the ball on line, my green reading isn't very good, or I'm having speed control issues. So your starting point really should be, whether that's for yourself or with your coach, you're going to check your stroke and just make sure, am I rolling the ball through consistently? I would say that you need to be able to hit 9 out of 10 at a minimum through that gate that you see there with the tees. If you can't do that, then there's something wrong with the stroke. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to go putt bad, but it would be the starting point if I were to see someone of going, okay, let's clean this up. Then we can work on the green reading. Then we can work on the speed. And this is something I say, it's like brushing your teeth. You do this every day just to make sure that you don't have cavities, that you don't have issues with your putting. And if you do that, that will surely help your putting. So drop a comment. If you haven't subscribed, I would appreciate it. And if you have any questions about the putting mat or any putting questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. And best of luck next time you get some practice on the greens.